Okay, so continuing with the topic of cell biology in this lesson that we are discussing, the very important thing that we should know about something which is quite upcoming these days, as an example that is given in the lesson, that is about the stem cells research. Okay, like you all may have heard about it, or it could be a totally new topic for you. But when you say stem cells, okay, so it's like, as the name sounds, it doesn't mean that you're taking it from the stem of a plant or something. Okay, when you say a stem cell, they are nothing but there are special types of cells, okay, which are present in multicellular organisms. Okay, there are some specialized cells which you get in multicellular organisms, and the main unique property about a stem cell, it's that the stem cells can give rise to different body parts or different new cells or tissues. Okay, so when you say stem cell, it is different from any other normal cell in that a stem cell can give rise to other cells, tissues, or organs. They can divide and give rise to whatever I want. For example, if I want to generate a new liver or the new leaf of a plant, I can use a stem cell and produce that. In the laboratory, I have to give the required conditions so that the stem cells divide and give rise to that. Okay. And in the case of here, we are talking about it from human beings' point of view. So in the case of human beings, in that lesson on life process 2, all of you remember, come on the video everyone, all of you remember that we have learned about embryonic development. Like when the male gamete fuses with the female gamete, there is a zygote produced. That zygote is the first cell of the new life, okay, which divides and gives rise to the embryo. When that embryo further divides, initially the embryo is just a mass of cells. But from that mass of cells, there will be something called differentiation. That means some of the cells will divide in such a way, it will give rise to the brain. Some others will divide, give rise to the skin. Some others can divide, it can give rise to muscles or neurons or kidneys or lungs or whatever. Then it is called differentiation. So there is a difference between division and differentiation. Okay, division means it is only dividing, ek ka do, do ka char, char ka aath. Differentiation means it is ultimately becoming some part of a body. Okay, then it is called differentiation. So during that embryonic stage, when it is still differentiating, at that time, if you separate out those cells and if you culture them separately, you can maintain or preserve them as stem cells. So here you can see, first thing is the fertilization, which gives rise to the zygote. Zygote gives rise to the embryo. From that embryo, there is one stage of the embryo which is called blastocyst, where there are many cells present. You have to remove that cells, which are called as the embryonic stem cells. They are all alike, structurally, functionally, they are all the same. Okay, but from those cells, you can make it differentiate and you can give rise to other required cells. So if you are able to differentiate the embryonic stem cell to make it turn into a brain or a skin, you can treat so particular diseases. If you are able to make it differentiate to give rise to a muscle, blood, bone, or cartilage, you can replace the affected cells and you can find a cure for a concerned disease. Similarly, the lungs, the gut, the liver, okay, or you can also make it differentiate to form a gamete. Okay, either the sperm or the egg, and there can be problems of infertility which can be solved. So if the male or the female is not able to produce the concerned gamete, it can be treated using the stem cells. So from the stem cells, you can generate other different organs. Okay, like you can make a neuron, ultimately making in the brain. You can make enterocytes, so you can replace damaged portion of the intestines. You can replace the damaged portion of liver or the heart. So stem cells have got that potential. Did you understand the meaning of stem cells, everyone?
Yes.
Okay. So distribution and the location, where do you get these stem cells? Okay. Now talking about the stem cells, there are various places from where you can get the stem cells. Okay. So it's
Sir,
like, yes, Sundar, I got your message.
sir, can you repeat the stem cells again?
Okay. See, basically stem cell means what? During the embryonic stage, okay, from a zygote, when the embryonic development is going on, ultimately turning into a full organism, like if you're talking about human beings. So during one stage, when all the cells of the embryo are all alike structurally and functionally, at that stage we can call it as stem cells, because from there onwards, okay, the stem cells have got the property of something called differentiation. Differentiation means they will become different from each other. Some will turn into a brain, some will become a brain, a liver, or the lungs, or the skin, or the muscles, or the blood, or anything. Then they will become separate or different from each other. Up to that stage is division. After that is differentiation, along with division. So it is that stage where we have to harvest those cells. We can preserve them as it is, and we can stimulate or induce those cells to turn into the required organ that we want. So they have the property of differentiating. Then such cells are called stem cells. Now is it clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. So talking about the distribution and the location, where are these stem cells distributed or located? So as I said, during the blastocyst or embryonic developmental stage. Okay, so after fertilization, the zygote is produced. Zygote starts dividing. Zygote is just a unicellular structure, the first cell of a new life. When it starts dividing, the number of cells only keep on increasing. So there are various stages, okay, of the embryonic development. At one stage, there are about 16 to 32 cells. That stage of embryo is called blastocyst. So in the blastocyst stage, if you are able to take out those cells and preserve it, they are stem cells. That is one possibility. Okay, the most common place where you can harvest stem cells. The second one is, are you aware about something called umbilical cord?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So when the baby is developing, the fetus is developing inside the mother, there is a placental connection between the fetus and the mother. Correct? So there is something called as umbilical cord, which connects the baby's belly with that of the uterine wall of the mother. After the birth, it is cut. So in that cut portion of the umbilical cord, there can be some cells present. They are also stem cells. That is second location. First one is during the embryonic development itself. Second one is from the umbilical cord directly we can harvest. Okay. Third one is something called the red bone marrow. Okay, like you have certain bones in the body which are long ones. Yes, apne bones of the hands and the feet and the legs, sorry. Okay, so the bones below, above the elbow, below the elbow, okay, above the knee joint, that's the thigh region, below the knee joint. So there are elongated long bones present. Inside the long bones, there is a hollow cavity which is filled with a fluid which is called as bone marrow. So there is something called yellow bone marrow and red bone marrow. Both are present. In the red bone marrow, they are the cells which are constantly dividing. They are the ones which ultimately keep on dividing to give rise to the cells of your blood. RBCs, WBCs and all, they are produced from these bone marrow cells. So if you are able to take out the bone marrow, they are the cells which contain the stem cells. That is the third location. Got it? red bone marrow. You have to remember that. Okay. Next one is something called adipose tissue. That is one type of a tissue that we have in our body, adipose tissue. Adipose tissue means the tissue which is made up of cells which are having lot of fats present in it. Then it's called adipose tissue, fatty tissue, correct. Okay, so there is a lot of adipose tissue located under our skin, especially more in some places on the body. Okay, so adipose tissue located in the chest region, in the cheeks region, you can see all these locations. In the abdomen, okay, in the breast among the females, all these are the locations where there is more of adipose tissue present. So such tissues can also be sources of stem cells. Is that clear? Okay, so talking about
Yes,
the location and the distribution of stem cells, the most common one is blastocyst, which is a stage of the embryonic development. Secondly, from the cord blood of umbilical cord. Thirdly, it's from the red bone marrow inside the hollow cavity of the long bones, and adipose tissue from various locations in the bone under the skin. These are the places from where you can get stem cells. Okay, so these locations you have to remember. Okay. Now, okay, you understood the location, where are these stem cells present. Okay, and by proper medical procedure, you can harvest, you can remove those stem cells and collect it. But after you collect it, you cannot keep it in the open. You have to preserve it. Okay, now why do we preserve it? We'll see that. But first we'll see how do we preserve it. Okay, इस stem cells को मैंने collect किया. So there are certain small sterile vials. See this. Laboratory में these are available. So these are very tiny, small tube-like structures. जिनको vials बोलते हैं. And there is a stand available like this, where you can keep many vials, as you can see. तो इस तरह के छोटे-छोटे quantity में जो samples वगैरह होते हैं, they are collected over there. But the important word mentioned over here is sterile vials. Sterile means what? Can you tell? What do you mean by sterile vials? Here, when you are telling sterile vials, what do you think it means? Anyone? Deepali, Shivganga, be on the video. Bolo. Sterile means it should be completely free from microorganisms. There should not be any microbial contamination. Then we use the word sterile. It is completely clean, because we are talking about certain cells which are taken from some locations within the human body. Getting it? So when you're talking about cells taken out from within the human body, from the bone marrow or something, it has to be completely germ free, because these cells are again used in the future for treatment of certain diseases. That means you have to introduce them back into human body for some reasons. So when you need to introduce them back into the human body, it has to be free from any microorganism. That's why it has to be sterile. And to maintain the sterile conditions, there are procedures available in the laboratory. Getting it? It's like, for your level, you can understand, whenever in a hospital, you must have seen an ICU or an operation theater. So whenever
Yes.
doctors perform surgery, you know very well what kind of cleanliness they take. The hair is covered, the hands are having gloves, they wear the mask, and whatever instruments they are using, they are completely made sterile with the help of certain procedures. They are heating it, they are using a disinfectant, and then they are using it. That's the meaning of sterile. Getting it? And after you take such clean, sterile vials, yeah, they are not reused anytime. Okay, once any particular vial is used for storing these stem cells, after their use is over, they are only discarded. they cannot reuse it. And this kind of sterile vials, because they are cells which are taken out from inside human body, you cannot keep it in a normal room temperature, otherwise they will just perish. That's why they are cryopreserved. Cryopreserved means they are kept under very low temperature. So there is a liquid nitrogen tank available, as you can see, where the temperature is -135 to -190 degree. So in vials को liquid nitrogen में रख दिया जाता है so that the cells they become inactivated, but they are alive. Then they can be used in the future whenever it is required. So it's such a low temperature, it will also avoid further contamination. This type of preservation technique is called cryopreservation. See this. So there are liquid nitrogen tanks available, and that also has to be handled very carefully. And that's what I told in the beginning. See, when you go to such research institutes and all these kind of facilities are available. So how do you handle that? You can see this lady is wearing the gloves, because liquid nitrogen cannot come in contact with your skin. There are other techniques like even dry ice, solid carbon dioxide. Okay, at such a low temperature also, if it comes in contact with your skin, it will give you burns, cold burns. That can be dangerous. So all these things are taught, and accordingly they are preserved. You understood how to preserve stem cells? Okay.
Yes.
Now talking
Yes,
about
sir.
the actual stem cell research. Okay, so it's like embryonic stem cells. Okay. Now when you talk about embryonic stem cells, as I said, there is a blastocyst stage from which the stem cells are harvested. Okay, and from there you can induce the cells to develop into what kind of a cell that you want to grow. So when you talk about embryonic stem cell, if you are harvesting it from the embryonic stage, so you must have the understanding that whenever fertilization takes place, conception ka matlab hai when the fertilization has taken place. So on day 1, if the fertilization has taken place, so from that day, on the 14th day, the cell differentiation starts. So if suppose a person wants to, especially a female, obviously, okay, if a female or a woman wants to ensure that her embryonic stem cells are harvested and stored, so she has to consult the specialist over here in such a way that whenever the fertilization has happened before the 14th day, she must go to the institute and make sure that the embryonic stem cells are collected. There will be a proper guidance. Getting it? So before differentiation, the embryonic cells are called as embryonic stem cells. Okay, and from embryonic stem cells, it is possible that there are 220 other different type of cells which can be produced. So exactly at the right stage, if you are able to harvest it, you can make it develop to any other type of cell. 220 different types. So when the cells, they have that ability that initially it is just like a normal cell, but it can divide, it can differentiate and give rise to any other type of a cell. That property is known as pluripotency. You have to understand the meaning of this word. That property of a cell where it can differentiate and give rise to any other type of a cell or organ, okay, self-multiplying ability and differentiation, it is called pluripotency, and such cells are called pluripotent cells. So the correct time or the best time to collect the embryonic stem cell is from the day of the fertilization, either 5th to the 7th day. That's the correct time. So as a layman, obviously nobody can do anything about it, but you have to approach the specialist, and the specialist will accordingly guide when to come and how the collection can be done. So there is an appropriate laboratory procedure which is carried out. Understood about embryonic stem cells, everyone?
Yes, sir.
So the cells are collected and they are preserved as was shown earlier. Okay, that was the first type of stem cell research. Second type is adult stem cells. The first one that we saw was the embryonic one. Now from the adults, as I shown earlier, you can collect the stem cells from adipose tissue or from the red bone marrow, right? Or yeah, these are the two possible places, correct? So when it comes to adult stem cells, there are three main sources. Okay, so you have the red bone marrow or the adipose tissue and even the adult blood. Okay, it is not the embryonic stage we are talking about. We are talking about the adult stage, the fully grown person. Okay, so it's like the other possibility is umbilical cord blood. Immediately after the birth, the umbilical cord can be cut and the blood can be collected to separate out the stem cells. That is another possibility. So there are something called as stem cell banks. It's a very new upcoming concept. Everybody is aware about blood bank, right? Where you know that the blood is segregated into different groups and accordingly stored in the bank. So in the hospitals and all, many times, you know, the blood can be required. If a person meets with an accident, there is a lot of blood loss which has happened. Okay, so blood pressure drop ho gaya, uska life khatre mein. So what the doctors say, so and so blood group arrange karo immediately. So if a person is met with an accident and he is of the A positive blood group, so blood bank se A positive leke aate हैं. That's why there are many people who go and donate blood also. If you are healthy enough, if you fulfill all the criteria, okay, from especially after the age of 18, okay, and secondly, you should be of good health. You should not be under any medication or any other treatment. If you have a minimum body weight, you can go and donate the blood. Everything is checked before the doctor collects your blood, right? So ऐसे करके blood bank होते हैं. उसी तरह से there are something called stem cell banks. So stem cell banks means the persons can go give the or donate the stem cells and get it preserved in the stem cell bank for future use. Getting it? So in this kind of vials, the stem cells are collected. They are preserved as per the technique I have shown you, cryopreservation. So whenever in the future, if suppose new cells, new tissues, new organs are required, the same stem cells can come into use. Understood this point? These are all new latest techniques which are being explained. Very nicely put across in your syllabus. समझ रहा सबको अच्छी तरह से?
Yes, sir.
ठीक है? So stem cells, how you can use them? There are many diseases which the mankind is facing, right? So there are therapies available to treat the diseases. Okay, तो उसको बोलते हैं regenerative cell therapy. Regenerative cell therapy means like there are certain cells which are dead due to certain reasons. Healthy cells, they die, because of which there are diseases occur. Okay, we cannot go into details of each disease over here, but you know very well, diabetes, okay, because of deficiency of insulin. Myocardial infarction is the other name for heart attack. Okay, Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease, which are neurodegenerative disorders, brain ke cells come. So where the cells, they die. So when the dead cells have to be replaced with healthy cells, stem cells can become useful. So a person who is diabetic can be treated. Heart attack can be controlled. Neurodegenerative disorders can be treated. That is regenerative cell therapy. That's the first type, cell therapy. Okay. Second type is like there are conditions like thalassemia. This picture will explain you what is thalassemia. In a normal blood, you have the RBCs, the red blood cells. Their function is to transport oxygen from one part of the body to another. That's why RBCs have a particular shape and there's a particular number of RBCs present in the blood in a normal condition. But if a person is suffering from thalassemia, you can see what happens to the RBCs. They become small in size, their shape changes, and overall number in the blood reduces. So the person is not able to provide sufficient oxygen to every important tissue of the body. So every other tissue and organ of the body is not able to function normally because of deficiency of oxygen. That is thalassemia. It's a genetic disorder. So in such cases, we can use stem cells and we can make it produce the required blood cells to increase their number. That is one example. Did you understand this? How we can use the stem cells? Right?
Yes.
So we are not using any
Yes, sir.
artificial chemical or something like that. It is just like your own body cells which have that property. Instead of letting it go waste, we are harvesting it so that in the future you don't have to depend upon others for this. That is regenerative cell therapy. Okay. Then the other uses of stem cells, very, very important. Are you aware about something called organ transplantation?
Yes.
Right? Transplantation means from a person A to person B, you're taking out a live healthy organ and putting it into person B. That is transplantation. So that is possible scientifically for some organs. Okay, but for that, from whichever person you are collecting an organ, that person should be willing to give that. That is important, right? So it's like when you are talking about organ transplantation, it's not that suddenly one fine day I will think I will donate one of my organs and go to the hospital and they will take me to a corner and collect my organ. It is not possible, right? So there are a lot of criteria to be considered. Your own health, your medication, testing, everything. Getting it? So there are organs like eyes, the heart, the liver, they can be donated. Of course, there are certain organs which one can donate only after the death of a person, not before that. Okay. Yes, Sundar, what your message is correct. There are many documentaries and videos which show this very nicely. Okay, like there are certain organs. Suppose if a person wants to donate a kidney. So normally there are two kidneys and one person can survive well on one kidney also. So a person who is alive can go and donate a kidney. So the one who is donating, the donor, and the one who is receiving, both will be able to survive well. Okay, but if a person wants to donate the heart, so of course the person has to wait till its own death, so that after the death of the person you can donate. But how will the person come to know that after the death is possible to donate or not? One has to pledge a kind of a certificate that after my death, whenever it will happen, there will be so and so organ which I would like to donate. So eye donation doesn't mean that one fine day I will take out my eyeball and lay, okay, take it with you. It is not possible, right? These are things which are possible after death. Usko bolte hai posthumous organ donation. Getting it? But the awareness with respect to organ donation is very less. Like, see, when it comes to organ donation, there are lots of other beliefs also that come into picture. Every religion has got their own way in which they dispose or wind up their dead. Like there is a burial ritual, or sometimes it is burnt, but ultimately something is done with the body. And according to some religious beliefs, they feel that a person is dead means the whole organs cannot be transplanted. It is, they have their own issues with it. But scientifically speaking, one organ donor can actually save 8 different lives if all organs are healthy. If a person is dead, his or her organs can save the life of many other people. No? So liver, eyes, kidney,
Yes.
heart, lungs, skin, bones, intestine, pancreas, the blood vessels, everything can be donated. So imagine you are able to save so many lives. That's why this awareness is important. Getting it? So from such organs, wherever possible, the stem cells can also be harvested. Okay. And at the other time, like suppose a person suffers from something very major serious condition and he or she needs an organ. जैसे अगर liver पूरा खराब हो गया है, so the person is waiting for somebody to donate a liver and there is no donor available. So under such cases, the person's own stem cells can help. You don't have to depend upon a donor. On one side, organ transplantation is really good. It's a noble thing to do. And secondly, stem cells can also help in the picture. Because nowadays in many situations you see a person who is requiring certain organ is actually not getting any donor. The number of donors available are very less. Getting it? So organ and body donation, both are different things. Organ donation means you are pledging some healthy organ of your body. Body donation means like some people, they pledge even for this. Okay, after the person's death, the whole body can be given to hospitals or medical institutions. So that there are people who are students who are learning to become doctors. They need specimens and they want human bodies to work on. So for them, they can donate the body instead of just getting disposed of. So ऐसे bodies को हम लोग बोलते हैं cadavers. Okay, if you go to any medical college, okay, movies में देखा रहेगा. You must have seen in Munna Bhai MBBS. याद है? Right, you must have seen that one body and there are 14-15 people. Nobody is able to see anything. So body चाहिए ना वहाँ पर. Right, and you have seen how they are preserved. So medical college में ऐसे ही होते. So for that there should be people who will be ready to donate. Nobody can do it forcefully also. वो खुद का अपना इच्छा से होना चाहिए. For that there is a written documentary evidence available. It's the role of the family members also which come into picture. Yeah, as soon as the death happens, the family members must inform the authorities. Okay, so and so person has died. Please come and collect these organs. Because after the death of a person, the organs should be harvested within a specific period of time. Especially the heart, the eyes, and all. बहुत ज़्यादा time के बाद collect करेंगे तो it's of no use. So all those points have to be taken into picture. So one has to have a very strong will and a passion to do that. So such organs, such bodies, when they are donated for such causes, they are called as cadavers. That is also an important requirement. So this kind of organ donation, transplantation, of course, they are scientifically done, and there are lots of mischiefs also which has happened with this. You know that kidney ka racket ho gaya tha beech mein. Like without the knowledge of the person, the doctors were involved. Many other antisocial elements were involved just for some money. कि किसी का किडनी बिना बोले निकाल लिया, right? उसको बेचकर पैसे कमा रहे, ये सब शुरू हो गया. That's why law also had to come into picture. कि all these things are done under the control of Transplantation Humans Organs Act of 1994. कि suppose by chance unfortunately if somebody realizes कि मैं hospital में admit था, मेरा ऐसा ऐसा surgery हुआ, but without informing me, without my permission, my so and so organ was removed. So the person can approach the law, and under this act, the people who have done the crime will be acted, will be legally tried. Okay, so हर चीज में negative points भी होते ही, you cannot avoid that. That's why the law has to come into picture. So you have to remember this. Okay, this law was enacted in 1984, and then there were subsequent amendments, 2009, 2011, 2014. So that if at all this scientifically the organ transplantation is done, there is no cheating involved, and if a person goes as a donor, the person will have to fill up a form, sign the document, give that in writing that yes, I'm doing this willingly. Okay, and a person who is receiving or his or her family members, they will also have to sign saying that yes, it was a mutual agreement and so thing was carried out. There is no cheating involved. There is no other vested interest involved. All that comes into picture when it comes to organ donation and transplantation. So when it comes to stem cells research, it also involves organ donation and organ transplantation. Nowadays, what is happening is that many couples, okay, like those who are scientifically aware and all, what they do, whenever they bear a child, okay, that time itself, they tell the authorities that from the child who has recently been born, you can collect the stem cells and preserve it. So that unfortunately, God forbid in the future, suppose if the child will require some organ or maybe blood or something, the child will not have to depend upon any donor. His own cells will help in the future. Or if not to him, then it can help someone else. and it is not harming the child in any way. It's just that some cells are collected and preserved, nothing else. It's not affecting the child in any way. Umbilical cord तो वैसे ही कट करके discard करते हैं, तो it's better to collect the blood and preserve it. Embryonic stem cells, all the cells are not collected, the baby is ultimately being born. It's only a few cells which are taken and preserved. So this is completely harmless in every way unless there is no misuse involved. That's why stem cells and its associated research is a very upcoming field in cytology these days. And there are institutes which are involved and people are becoming more and more aware about this. Have you understood this properly?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
that was the first part of the lesson, that is about cell biology. The next part that we will see later, that is about biotechnology. Okay. Any doubt till here?
No.
Okay.
No, sir.